With NFL training camps, basically, they're getting closer and closer. We got to be able to shed some light. I wish I could bring my lamp closer so I could do it for emphasis, but I won't do it. But shedding some light on the top headlines and news for all 32 NFL teams. And today we're talking about our Minnesota Vikings, about the top headlines before training camp, and we couldn't be more excited to do it. So I need to start by saying, yes, the Vikings have been one of those teams. You would think that, with all the different things going on, they went through a lot of change. Well, not really. Like, if we're being real here, there was some things that you were happy to see, and there were some things that at the end of the day, there is going to be some questions about the Vikings, but overall you're very excited for the Vikings. They've got a lot of different things going on for them, and I think we're going to get right into it right now. So starting with the 6 takeaways from June minicamp. By the way, we will add a link down in the description to give Vikings territory all the credit here. They did a fantastic job here. So obviously it starts off talking about some of the things different going on, but it says the first, number one, this is honestly was a little bit of a question for me. Danielle Hunter will be just fine in a 3-4 defense. I'm so excited about this because that was a major question for me. Like, yes, we know this man could be a top end edge rusher, but how is he going to do in a 3-4 defense? Obviously with him more coming off the edge, maybe in pass coverage, I don't know. But it talking about how linebacker coach Mike Smith called Danielle Hunter a kid in the candy store, reflecting on his mini camp presence inside the team's new look defense. Absolutely, you love it. You like to see a guy that comes in that is excited to be there, that is going to be challenged, going to be probably honestly put in a better spot to be successful when you've got 3 guys on the inside that are going to be commanding possibly double teams and having edge rushers that are doing a lot of different things as well. So I think this is going to make it really fun for the Vikings, having a guy like Za'Darius Smith and Danielle Hunter on the outside. But Danielle Hunter, good to have him back. Yes, I think he's going to be just fine. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Smith-Marsette is injured. Yes, that was one thing. It says, now for the bad stuff. The Vikings front runner to land a wide receiver 4 job was beset by a leg injury and walked in the boot throughout mandatory minicamp. Of course, 6 weeks. Fans are likely to look back on the June boot and not care as Smith-Marsette is expected to be ready for training camp. It's not the end of the world. Like right now, obviously, you just want him to heal up and be ready to go for camp. But it is a little discouraging, being a part of this new offense, having him just kind of in a walking boot. It is discouraging. But at the end of the day, I'm not worried about it. Smith-Marsette is a guy that competes. Really, at the end of the season, to me, really showed that he belongs on the field. That speedster, that wide receiver 4 guy, obviously, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, then probably Olabisi Johnson, or a guy that really played well and stepped up to me last year, which was a guy like KJ Osborne. And so, I feel like, wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, it could be a spot for Smith-Marsette, but again, it does suck that he was injured, but he's going to be ready for training camp, so there is the silver lining of that. Greg Joseph, the front runner at kicker. So, obviously, the kickers are kind of a tough subject for Vikings fans. I get it. But it talks about, out of nowhere in May, Minnesota signed rookie kicker Gabe Burkic, to a 3-year contract. Greg Joseph is the incumbent, but the Burkic addition made fans wonder as to what ifs. Obviously, they let go of Burkic later on as well. But at the end of the day, I do think he's going to be a player. Joseph is going to be a player to watch. And I think that at the end of the day, he did kick pretty well last year, especially towards the end of the year. And yes, you did see a couple of hiccups, specifically the Arizona Cardinals game. What was it, week 2? I get it. I get the anger coming out of that game, but we make mistakes. Like, kickers aren't perfect. Greg Joseph did show down the line, hitting multiple 50-yarders down the line. Nobody thinks about, what was it, the 50-yard kick to send the Vikings to overtime against the Bengals. And there's just so many other examples. I've literally forgotten all of them because I had them written down, but I'll have to bring that next time, because he just literally, quite honestly, he did show up a lot of times for the Vikings last year, and it goes unnoticed, which is a shame. But number 4 here, talking about Kellen Mond has an honest-to-goodness shot at quarterback too. Thank God that a guy like Sean Mannion is potentially not going to be a starter. So it says, standoffishness about Kellen Mond is deceased. No longer are draft grudges preventing the young passer from a fair shake at the quarterback 2 job. Love it. If only for 2 days in Egan, Mond is progressing like a quarterback 2, not a blackballed quarterback whose coach has seen enough of him. This is kind of it's laying it on real thick of what Mike Zimmer had said about Kellen Mond against the was it following the Packers game or whatever last year where the Vikings, they got shellacked, but it's just how it goes. Thanks to the former coaching staff, but O'Connell and his pals arrived in Minnesota to fix the roof. Mond will be afforded a reasonable chance in July and August to become the Vikings' backup quarterback. So far, it's not the Mannion show at quarterback too. I've got to bring this back here for emphasis. Thank God, please, I get it. Sean Mannion is a guy that actually does play up to, does play up to a high level. Okay, fine. But what we have seen over the last couple of years, that's not the case. We have seen him struggle against week 17 against the Bears a couple of years ago. We've seen him struggle against the Packers last year. And then, you let Kellen Mond throw 3 passes, basically let him in for a drive and barely let him play. It was infuriating. It was infuriating. We cannot, there's no excuse. There should not be a legitimate quarterback competition. There should be a legitimate shot for Kellen Mond to be the quarterback number 2, and I'm so excited about it. Now, talks about open battles at interior offensive line. Thank you again. So, in the offseason, the Vikings brought in Jesse Davis over from the Miami Dolphins, to play that right guard spot because he's not good at the right tackle position. We know that. But he is nonetheless a good player as a guard. I think that's what got him paid when he headed over to Miami anyway. So, Garrett Bradbury is not preordained to start at center. Thank you for that as well, because honestly, nothing against Garrett Bradbury, but he was a guy that did struggle or seemed to struggle against pass rushers that quite honestly just bigger than him or can bull rush, and he just gets bench pressed into Kirk Cousins' lap, which gets old. So it also talked about, talking about rookie guard Ed Ingram here. Strangely, hasn't signed his rookie contract. When he does, he should start what second guards do start, or excuse me, he should start, as that's what second round guards do start. For now, though, it's Davis, which, okay. Also, do not sleep on Chris Reed to start at center or at guard, because I feel like, Chris Reed, Jesse Davis, and then Brian O'Neill at right tackle. I would love that. And then it says here on Bradbury, the coaching staff makes the center job sound interpretive because Bradbury is a first rounder. Most believe he'll probably start in September, yet the Breaks were severely pumped on the idea that Bradbury need only show up and accept the job. He'll have to outlast Chris Reed and Austin Schlottman to re-earn his job. Yes, start Chris. That's the thing. This is a great contingency plan. We have got guys now. You got guys on the roster for the Vikings that, yes, Garrett Bradbury not getting it done, but you've got contingency plans and guys like Chris Reed, Austin Schlottman, Then also, like we said, Jesse Davis potentially starting at guard. Or if Bradbury steps up finally after, year 4, year 5, fine. You've got your starting guard or center. Then you've got your starting guard in Jesse Davis or Chris Reed, and then Brian O'Neill as well. I don't care. Get the best 5 guys on the field. I don't care. Make it happen. But then it also talks about, I think this is the 6th and final thing, the post Mike Zimmer defense could actually be good. Yes, that is the final thing as well. So Kirk Cousins said this week that the new Vikings defense makes practice difficult. Thank you. This is a good thing. It means the defense, a unit some felt would be left behind with the new offense first head coach, is doing its job. During the last 2 seasons, Mike Zimmer's defense plunged to the lower tiers of the NFL. Yes, it was rough to see. Then it talks about earlier indications hint that the Donatel defense could be better than the 2020 and 2021 Vikings versions. And truth be told, all the Vikings really needed in the last 2 seasons was a decent defense. Playoff teams could have been on the menu if so. A decent and perhaps better defense for life after Zimmer now feels optimistic. So, like I said, first off, I forgot I should have done this right off the start here, but a fantastic article written by Dustin Baker here. I absolutely love it because at the end of the day, the Vikings are in a spot where they've got questions, but at the end of the day, there's also it's the aspect of the defense has been the biggest question to me. These last 2 years, it's been rough. We have seen this defense go from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. It's just, what was it? 2 years ago, they couldn't get to the quarterback, and then last year, they got to the quarterback, but they couldn't get off the field. It was just so frustrating on so many different fronts. And now it looks as though this defense is finally going to be in a spot where it's ready to take over. And again, like the article mentioned, again, a great article by Dustin Baker, it doesn't even need to be a top 10 defense. Just a decent middle-of-the-pack defense, and this team could be a playoff team. That's how frustrating this is. I think Kirk Cousins has gotten a lot of hate, and I get it to a degree, but at the end of the day, he has not been the problem. It has been the defense these last 2 years. Look at 2019 when the Vikings actually had somewhat of a respectable defense, and then you had a guy like Kirk Cousins that actually put them in a spot to win that playoff game at first against the they won the playoff game against the Saints and the 49ers. Yeah, we all know that was kind of a mess. But at the end of the day, the Vikings finally are in a spot where I think if this defense even plays as a shell of its 2017 self, this team could be pretty dangerous. But, I'm excited for training camp. I'm excited for the preseason to get going. It just couldn't have come any sooner. But let us know what you guys think about our top Minnesota Vikings headlines and news before training camp. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. We love every single one of you. Down in the description below, you find all of our social media platforms. Give us a like and a follow there. Also remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes as well. And if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com. We would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about our top Minnesota Vikings headlines and news before training camp.